Welcome to Business Buying Strategies, the UK's #1 podcast for smart business buyers. Hosted by Jonathan Jay, one of the world's leading authorities on small business acquisition. This show helps you buy your first business without risking your own money. Ready to get started? Don't forget to grab your free business buying toolkit, packed with reports, videos, and cheat sheets at dealmakerspodcast.co.uk.
Hi, this is Jonathan Jay, and welcome to Business Buying Strategies, the #1 podcast for people interested in buying a business without risking their own cash. Now, you might remember that in last week's episode, we heard from 4 of our Inner Circle members who shared the stories behind the businesses they had acquired and offered their advice for others starting out on their acquisition journey. Now, this week, I put a couple more Inner Circle members on the spot, and I'll be helping you to fast-track your success by sharing with you some of the things that I know work and some of the things I know absolutely won't work. I hope you enjoy it. Good morning. Okay, we are going to be talking about some of the top lessons from the Inner Circle group. And I talk about the Inner Circle guys and girls a lot, because these are the people who make it happen. And to get into the Inner Circle, you have to have done at least one deal. That's not owning a business, that's not selling a business, that's buying a business. And VIP clients in the room that know what you need to do as well. So let me share with you some of the things that I know work, some of the things I know don't work. So this session is all about fast tracking your success. Okay, now I can tell you that the majority of people come into Mastermind with the aspiration to buy one business. And I can tell you right now that one deal, one business, one acquisition can change your life. It can double your income. It can take your business from where it is now to reach your business goals far faster. A great example of someone who had a business already and bought another business, someone called Nick. And Nick has a printing company, large format printing company. And he bought a balloon printing business. And you might think, what does a balloon printing business have to do with large format exhibition displays and things like that? Well, what happened is when he bought the balloon printing business, they were getting about 10 to 15 orders a day through the internet. And the sales team on the large format printing business would phone up each of those sales and say, we've got your order, we've received the logo file, okay. Can I ask, what's the occasion? And they would say, well, they're for an exhibition, or they're for this, or they're for that. And the sales team would then look for the other opportunities to upgrade from we're just buying some balloons for a few £100 to we're buying exhibition stands and all the displays and all the graphics and all the screens and everything that you need, which is like £15,000. So it was an upsell opportunity. So if you own a business already, then maybe you'll be looking for the upsell opportunity in an acquisition. So one acquisition can transform your business, and one acquisition, if you're currently in employment, can transform your income. And I wasn't intending to do this, but I was speaking to Jazz last night. Where's Jazz? Where are you? Just share what you said to me about the one acquisition you completed on a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, whenever it was, and how that's impacted, because you also have a paid employed position. So
yeah, it's my first deal completed on the 4th of April. One deal can change your life, because I think for me, I have a good job, good salary, but I never want to be, I don't want to be a director. I have 2 kids and I'm 40 now, so I've got to the point where I just want to have time off, be free, go on holidays, but I like earning income. So yeah, the first business I bought it's 200k, roughly just under EBITDA. So it's fairly small, but it's an outstanding, CQC outstanding rated. It's got really good net profit margin for the business. So yeah, so that's great. That's like my income secured forever, even if I just stay on that one. I've owned it since the 4th of April. So I'd owned it for about 4 weeks when I bought it, and then got the opportunity to buy a second one. And actually my seller, who I bought the first business from, is giving me the money for the second one. So now I'm at the end of June, hopefully have a business that's got 400 EBITDA and 1.9 million revenue.
Well done, very good. But the point I was making really is that the income from the business replaces your income from the job if you so wish to make that switch.
Oh, massively. And I'm here. And it's a nice feeling. I think the first day I brought the business was the best feeling was to know, I mean, I've got 20 staff now. When the second acquisition, I'll have 60 staff. But to have a feeling when you're sat in the garden or you're playing with your kids and to know that you're making money, that's like, it's truly passive. And I think that's the best feeling.
That's amazing. And before I ask you to sit back down, and thank you for doing this, you came to your first Inner Circle meeting 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Yep. Just tell everyone what that was like, what sort of happened in that meeting and how you felt.
It's great to be with people that have businesses, understand the issues that you're dealing with. And I think because for me, it's my first acquisition. So there's some things I need to think about, like I need contacts for HR consultants, that sort of thing. Help with dealing with minimum wage staff and stuff like that. But we can all share. So I think Josh was there and he's got nurseries and you're dealing with a similar sort of staff. So you sort of...
And it's a kind of decent group of people, right?
Yeah, no, it's really good. I actually celebrated being able to get in the Inner Circle more than I celebrated getting my deal.
Brilliant. Jazz, thank you so much. That's absolutely brilliant. Let's give her a round of applause, shall we? Thank you. All right, brilliant. Okay, so... which beautifully segues into point number one, which is validating the model. So what Jazz has done there, very smartly, has validated the model. So acquisition number one is all about checking that your assumptions are correct, that you can acquire this business, you can do it. We want you to do it in a way that doesn't risk any of your own capital. If you wish to risk your capital, it's entirely up to you. We suggest that you don't, but yep, you're grown-ups, you can make your own decision, but we suggest that you don't do that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to risk. You don't need to do it with any risk whatsoever. And that's exactly what has happened here. And it's validating several things. It's validating that you can do it. And that's that self-belief that when you've done it once, you realize that, goodness me, why was I dilly-dallying over this? And I spend a lot of time helping people overcome procrastination. And I found that one of the fastest ways to help people overcome procrastination is to give people a deadline and say, come on, let's get it done by this date. And when people have a focus of a deadline and I don't want to let myself down, let anyone else down, they make sure it happens and they get focused and they do it. So when you're validating the model, you're validating it for yourself, but also you're validating the business case. And the business case is you can buy a business, in this case, roughly £200,000 of pre-tax profit, which I think is solid. That's nice. That starts to move the needle. I mean, if you were telling me about a business that makes £20,000 of pre-tax profit, I would say, why are you doing this? Unless you already have a business that does what that business does, and really you're just scooping up the contracts, you're losing all the overhead, and that 20 turns into 150 because you're just putting it into your existing infrastructure that you're already paying. You are far better off buying a business that makes money before you own it, because then the chances are a lot higher it will make money after you own it. You will also notice that you can't get any finance to buy a distressed business because it's distressed and it can't afford the finance. No one will ever lend you, right, Martin? You can't get finance to buy a business that's losing money. So focus on businesses that make money. Okay, very important. I can see some of you are taking notes, lots of notes, in fact, some of you. If you're not taking notes, I would suggest that you jot things down as we go along, because it's really easy to forget this by the time you get back into the office on Tuesday. So validating the model is all about checking the assumption that when you buy this business, you can do what you say you're going to do. I'll give you an example, and this is someone I know, not part of Mastermind, but someone I know. And I just saw this on LinkedIn last night. So this is like one of those, I just saw it and I'm telling you about it. So a fair number of years ago, there was someone on Dragon's Den that you might remember. In fact, we should have asked Richard about this yesterday. He had something called the iTeddy. And it was a teddy bear with an iPad in its stomach, which was a little bit strange. And I don't think it went down that well, because we're trying to discourage screen time with children, not encourage it by putting it in their teddy bear, okay? His name is Imran Hakim, okay? But he wasn't to be discouraged, because he decided to go down a completely different path and buy independent opticians. Independent opticians. And this was the proposition to the independent opticians. He said, look, oh, actually, we have some opticians in the room, right? Where are you guys? Yeah, over here. Yeah. So do you know who I'm talking? You know who I'm about to talk about, don't you? Yeah, of course. Is he kind of like well known in the sector? I guess he must be. Yeah. So the proposition was this. You don't like marketing. You don't like the back office. You don't like the admin. You don't like the HR. You don't like hiring and firing and employing and all. You don't like. You just want to do your job that you trained for. You want to be an optometrist, and that's what you want to do. I don't know whether you've ever been pitched by them, but that's the pitch, right? And he said, I will do all of those things for 50% of the business, and you for 50% of the business will carry on doing what you do, and together we're going to be stronger because at the moment your business valuation is 0, but if we collaborate and there's other opticians in the group, then we're going to have a future higher value than if you were just doing this by yourself, because right now, quite frankly, you're sitting on a job, you're not sitting on a business. Does that make sense to everyone? So he went out and he did this, and he did it 70 times. He's motivated. 70 times. And then he went and got some minority investment. I had a conversation with him about this, and I'll give you just some general numbers without being too specific. But let's say there was a 10 million plus payout to him and his family, the shareholders, but then there was a similar amount put in as growth capital by this investment company. They then turbocharged the business, and that was 5 years ago. And yesterday, it was sold again. And at that point of sale yesterday, there were 500 opticians practices in the group in 5 years. All right? Now, I can tell you, because I know, he didn't do a single thing different to anything that I teach you. Not one single thing.
Want to buy a business the smart way? Download Jonathan Jay's free business buying toolkit. It's packed with 16 reports, checklists, cheat sheets, and more to help you succeed. This is the ultimate toolkit for anyone who wants to buy a business successfully. Claim your toolkit now at dealmakerspodcast.co.uk.
So validating the model is important, because once you validated the model once, you could do it 500 times. John's going to be on our Inner Circle panel later, by the way, and he's validated his model with telecoms and done it 17 times. Okay? Harry and Tim, you validated the model, you've done it twice, you're ready for number 3 and number 4. You validate the model, you do it again. Rob with marine type businesses validated the model, went from 3 million to 30 million euros of revenue in the 5 years that you've been part of the group. And by the way, can I just say that I have people particularly in the Inner Circle group, who have invested over £50,000 individually with me. Interestingly, they are the most successful people in the deal makers community, because they don't stop. They just keep on going and keep on coming. Where's Perry? Hi, Perry.
As a tight Scotsman, and you spoke about return on investment yesterday, I don't put a foot forward unless I'm going to make a return on investment. That's probably with a business conversation I have as well. It's all kind of, not calculated, but it's all well planned out and structured when I'm in a business environment.
And this is your third year in the Inner Circle?
Yeah, this is my third year in the Inner Circle. I've been involved in mergers and acquisitions since 1995, internationally and UK. So I've got quite a lot of experience, but I came to a position in my career that it was very difficult to speak with people that had the same, what could I say, goal-getting attitude, and that's what I found in the Inner Circle. Also, if I had any problems, I can text the guys, WhatsApp them, give them a call.
And what have your numbers been the last few years?
Last few years, I brought the company up to 14 million, and I've got 15% net profit.
50?
I'm in the process. 15.
Oh, 15, I was going to say.
Yeah, no, 15.
I thought that is good.
15%. Yeah.
Didn't know that one.
and that's in the construction and property industry.
So that's 15% in construction is high.
Yeah, that's very high. I'm in the process of looking for another, probably 6 companies. I'm running 2 groups of companies just now. The construction group, I'm taking up to 10 companies before I'll be putting up for sale. So I work every single day. I'm a little bit different from other people. I love what I do, and it's not work, it's just that's my life.
Well, actually, when you enjoy what you do, it isn't work, is it? It's something that you want to do. Yeah, brilliant, Barry. Sorry. No, I'll let you finish.
Yeah, so the inner circle has gave me like the support and backing that I needed. And especially Jonathan last year. So I was seriously ill last year. And no, I don't think anyone in this room, not even in their circle, would know. No. But Jonathan supported me throughout the whole process. So I'd like to thank Jonathan for that.
Oh, okay. All right, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Barry. So validating the model, once you've got it right, you can just replicate it again and again. So let's get the first deal right, because it's really important. If you get the first deal wrong, it might knock you back and you might never get to deal number 2. Does that make sense? Yeah, you've got to get the first one right. And success breeds success. Now, here is a very important point with any business that you buy. The people are essential and training is the secret weapon. So the biggest asset in your business are the people, but the biggest liability can also be the people as well. They can work with you and they can work against you. If you get them to work with you, if you empower them to help you get where you want to go, you can just let them run with it. I'll give you a great example. So Jason, he's not here today, again, in a circle, of course, but Jason, he came on Mastermind in about 2018. And he disappeared for a couple of years, didn't hear anything from him. And then he appeared again, and he said, I've just done my first deal. And I thought, I'm glad, because I thought that life had just got in the way, he'd gone down a different path, something had distracted him. And in fact, actually, he should be here, because I just realized he lives in Marbella, he lives down the road. He should really be here. And he bought his first business, which was a steel fabrication business in the northeast of England, 19 million of revenue, just over 1 million of profit. 18 months later, it was 36 million of revenue, which is kind of near, well, like kind of double, right? And I said, how did you do it? And he said, I empowered the people. All I did, I asked them what we could do to grow the business. And you know what they said? Answer the phone. Yeah, because you see, the exiting owner, retirement age, didn't really want more customers, because more customers, more staff, more hassles. I've got enough money, don't need any more effort in my life, any stress in my life. So they answered the phone, they quoted, they did better quality work, got the quotes right, cut out the work that didn't really make much margin, and grew. And then he did a second acquisition, got him up to 50 million of revenue, which allowed him, because he had, number 1, by the way, on our list was what? Validate the model. He'd validated the model. He proved that he could do it. He could raise 25 million as a war chest for the next acquisition. Now, if you had 25 million in the bank, do you think that would kind of move you forward faster? Well, yes, but no one's going to give you that until you validated the model. So he validated the model, but part of validating the model was making sure the training of the people and the people empowering the people got him where he wanted to go. So all of these things fit together, a little bit like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Separately, they may not make much sense. When you start to fit them together, they lock in and you see the big picture. Now, the training is one of those things that there was a saying. Anyone remember Peter Thompson? Nightingale Conant. Peter Thompson? Yeah, great. Peter Thompson was like, he must be 80 plus now. And Peter and I were very good friends years and years ago. We did some stuff together. And who's heard of Nightingale Conant? Oh, a few of you. You know what? If this was like 20 years ago, it'd be every single person. Brilliant publishers of business content and personal development content. And Peter had this saying, maybe it wasn't his, but he was the person I heard it from, where he said, bosses are concerned that if they invest in training their staff, spend time and money training their staff, what happens if they leave? And I've just wasted my money and I've wasted my time. I train them up and they leave. But what happens if you don't train them and they stay? Which is a bigger problem, right? So investing in the training is actually something that you should be doing, and you can't do it once. You cannot do it once. You can't do it once and hope that it sticks. It's like anything. It's like going to the gym once. It doesn't work, unfortunately. You've got to keep going, right? And when you stop going, you kind of move backwards. So to move forwards, you've got to keep going. You've got to keep going, got to keep going. okay? So the training is an ongoing process that never stops. And if you do that and you want to reach significant financial goals, that training will help you get there far faster. The alternative is you don't train them, you don't have high performers, and the business starts to go downwards, and you wonder why, and that's the reason why. Okay, so number 3 is focus on quality day-to-day management. Now, day-to-day management is different to head office management. Day-to-day management is the people in that branch, in that location, in that office, and you need quality management. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with a job. Let me tell you how that works in reality. This is how it works. You, as the entrepreneurially minded person, probably you're a good problem solver, okay? You're a good problem solver. Maybe you enjoy solving problems. You're just good at solving problems. If you've got a few years behind you of experience, you've got that experience that you can use to address and solve just about any problem that the business throws at you. So you solve a problem in the business that you buy, and people go, oh, that was good. That was really good. You solved that problem really well. I've got another problem. Could you solve this for me? Do you see what we're doing here? We're training people to ask us every time they've got a problem so that they don't go and solve their own problems. They just come to you because you're just so good at solving problems. And you know what? You probably enjoy it. And it's probably good for your ego as well that people keep coming and asking. At the beginning, it's good for your ego because people ask you to solve the problems and you're solving the problems. And before you know it, there's a queue of people out the door asking you to solve a problem. So you know what? It's just easier if you get a desk in the office. You didn't intend to do this, of course, because you'd listened to me. But now you're going to get a desk in the office. You put a desk in the office and you decide to go in 1 day a week. And you spend 1 day a week solving problems. And then someone says it'd be great if you could come in on Mondays for our Monday morning meeting. So you come on Mondays for the Monday morning meeting. People tell you that you're inspirational. So you're going to be there for the Monday morning meeting, the Thursday morning problems, the Friday afternoon problems. Before you know it, you're there every day. And before you know it, you got yourself a job. It creeps up on you step by step, bit by bit. You don't notice it. And this is very important. So the way to solve the problem is to have this quality day-to-day management. And you've got to have good people. Now, there are several schools of thought of this. You take the people that are already there. You maybe elevate some of the people who are already working in the company. Maybe they could have a larger role now that the owner-manager has left. You parachute in your own people. You bring in your own people to do. I've done all variations of these. I don't think there's really a set formula for success on this. It's more of a depends upon the situation. There's definitely a view that bringing someone in from the outside can alienate everyone else. But then I know in some sectors, that is exactly what they do. They bring in a manager who does it the company way, so they set the standard right from the start. So this is the thing. You've got to get the people on side. We know that. But if you get the management on side and the right management on side, they will get the people on side for you. You've got to have everyone pointing in the same direction. You know that if you've got a bad apple, that is the distracting person in your company. So you can have 50 people in the company and one person who just distracts from everyone else. And you should be focusing on the 49 that are doing great, and the one person who's distracting, bad apple. They suck all the energy out of the room or out of the company. Operations, the day-to-day stuff, is where the headaches are. That is where you lay in bed at night at 3 a.m. worrying about stuff. You need to let other people worry about stuff so you can think big picture. What's the big picture? It's the next acquisition. And you can't do that if you're sucked into the day-to-day stuff. Now, here's the thing. You need to buy quality businesses. The quality businesses don't always have to be huge businesses with mega profits. You're looking for good, not necessarily great. Because if you can turn the business from good to great, or in other words, let the management team turn the business from good to great, then you have an uplift in value so you can sell it for more than you bought it for. So what we're doing here is we're looking for a quality, good business that makes money even if the owner is removed. And this is the problem with the smaller businesses. With the smaller businesses, you take the owner out and there's nothing there. Quite often, the smaller businesses can appear very profitable, but they're only profitable because the owner does the jobs of 3 people. Yeah. So like a care home, so they could take a care home. So the owner might be the manager, do a little bit of cleaning later on, and is in the kitchen at lunchtime because they like cooking. Now, you try putting an advert on Indeed saying, we're looking for a manager who enjoys cooking and is happy to do the cleaning when everyone goes home, the staff. So you're not going to find that person. So sometimes you've got to employ 3 people to replace 1. So what we want then is a business that makes money even if the owner is removed. So part of your diligence, and you don't need an accountant to do this for you, you can do this yourself, is if I went and hired the person to do this owner's job for when they've gone, how would the profits look like at that point? How do you find out how much you would pay this person? You go on Indeed, Total Jobs, any of these job sites, and you just find out what people in Nottingham are paid as a care home manager. Simple as that. Oh, they're paid £35,000. Right, that's what we've got to have someone in. But let's say 35 plus NI and all of these things is like 42.5, 45, allow 45,000. What does that do to our profits now? Now, the big question I get asked a lot is, do you consolidate these businesses if you're buying more than one, or do you just leave them alone? And I'll give you an example of someone who left them alone. So Sam was on Mastermind 2018, something like that. And he went and bought, his background, by the way, was a professional footballer. That was this video's on my YouTube channel. You have to scroll back like 18 months or so, but it was on YouTube. And Sam was a professional footballer turned finance director. And he worked for TUI, the travel people. And TUI bought a business, and they were doing this consolidation of the 2 businesses together. And it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. Big company buying another big company, culture clash, all of those things. And it traumatized him. And he said, I'm never doing another consolidation ever. So he went and bought 3 HVAC companies, total revenue 17 million, and kept them completely separate. The only thing that was consolidated was the back office finance. So with one click of a button, he can see the group position in terms of the balance sheet and the P&L and the management accounts on a day-by-day basis, which makes a lot of sense. Not too surprising because his background was as an FD, so he's all over the numbers. But he chose not to consolidate, so they work under separate brands. Now, the other version of events is where you take all the businesses and you kind of put them all together and you put them under the same brand. And that can work really well if one of the businesses that you're rebranding, bringing into the group, has maybe a bit of a dubious reputation. Yeah, it would do with a brand refresh. We want to draw a line under the past and start new ownership, new start, and all of those things. But what I would say is it costs a lot of money to do rebrand. I mean, you would not believe how much money you can spend on signage, and then you've got to change the website. So I would tread cautiously with a fast rebranding. Now, we had a speaker at the Inner Circle last year who's the managing director of a private equity firm. And his view, I was surprised at, was we do that consolidation rebranding instantly. It's like, if you're going to cut deep and cut fast and cut now. I think it takes courage. I think it takes deep pockets just in case you get it wrong. If you don't have those deep pockets, I'd be a little bit more cautious. I'd let things run their course. I wouldn't be slamming everything together and pulling down the signage and calling everything, giving people new uniforms, or if it's that type of business. I wouldn't be doing that too fast. I would tread a little carefully because you've got to win some trust. So I'm not saying there's a right and I'm not saying there's a wrong, but what I would say is whatever the process that you take, be conscious that it might not all be plain sailing.
Thanks for listening to Business Buying Strategies. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. And remember, for more resources and guidance on buying a business, visit dealmakers.co.uk. Have you downloaded your free business buying toolkit yet? It's packed with resources to help you close your next deal. Get it now at dealmakerspodcast.co.uk. We're back in a fortnight. Until then, here's to your next successful acquisition.